Well, today I'm going to be installing my full exhaust system from my MT03. It's an M4 GP exhaust. Pension oil, some cleaner spray mallet just in case. You're going to need a 17mm for the O2 sensor, a 6mm for the Allen keys right here on the rear set. You're going to need a 4mm Allen hex key for the underbelly pan shield thing, a ratchet with a 12mm for the header bolts up here, and these 8mm, ooh, that was gonna be tricky to get in that one. I got the 8mm ratchet wrench, and that way I can get to these tight spots like that, get up in there. Anyways, that's what you're gonna need. So warm up your engine, get it warmed up, and then let it cool down after a little bit, not too long, probably about 15 minutes, let it cool. Just gotta get this out of the way. So it's an 8mm, and I'm gonna be using this guy right here. I plan on using this again, and I would just unbolt these ones, make your life easier. Doesn't look too bad without the belly pan shield. I like it because you can see the pipes and all that, but I don't know, for some reason I kind of like the belly pan shield, and it might protect the engine a little bit better. I don't know, I'll have to see if I have if it'll clear the plastics or not, if I don't have to cut anything or not. And I think if with those headers, I might have to relocate this canister just one notch this way, so there's two bolts there. I'm pretty sure I have to shift it over. So go ahead and remove those nuts, which I already did, and these will slide down. Don't worry about it. There's gonna be some copper rings in there. Don't lose those. Don't let them fall down because you're gonna have to reuse those for your new header. And I found out you're going to need one of these too, or you can use a bungee cord or zip tie or something, just to wrap it around this rear set, and then hold it up out of the way, because we're going to have to undo one of the bolts back in here. That guy back in there, if you can see it, that guy. So now what I'm going to do is pull these tabs over. Okay, so with this thing here, I did have to use the rubber mallet just to bump it loose, just to crack it loose, and now you can spin it off. Once you remove it, you can set it off to the side somewhere. You're going to need your 6mm hex head Allen key thing to remove the rear set, and then pull it out of the way. I got it loose, now we're just going to tie it up to the rear peg over there. Now you're going to take your 12mm and undo this guy right there. And we're going to have to remove this little guy right there, also a 12mm. And when you do this, this whole thing's going to drop, so watch your face so you don't get hurt. I think it's heavy. I think it's like 20-something pounds. Get it off these studs first, and then pull it towards you. So one of my copper head gaskets fell out like I was warning you about, so don't lose that, because you're going to need it. So we got the exhaust completely removed. There's nothing on there. This is the part where I'd highly recommend washing your hands, getting the grease off before you touch your nice shiny pipes, because as soon as this gets warm, it's going to stain the pipe. It's going to be like a brown color, and you'll see your fingerprints or whatever. So wash your hands real good, or wear gloves, or whatever you got to do. All right, guys, so remember how I was telling you about the clearance issues? That's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to have to undo these two 8mm bolts and just use the one and shift it over a little bit. Those two 8mm bolts you got to remove, and a little push popper thing right here. You got to push down like that, and now you can lift up underneath this tab. So basically, you're going to remove that one bolt, and you're not going to reuse it, and you're not going to reuse that push pop thing either. You have a 50-50 chance of getting this right or wrong. Of course, I had to do it twice, so I got it to fit, and it should go underneath, not out here, because if you put this pipe on this pipe, it comes out way out here. It looks stupid. So I think it goes like this. And at this point, what I'm going to do is screw in my O2 sensor into this pipe before I install it. That should be easier. Worked perfectly, and there's no kinking of the cable or twisted cables. So it just slipped right over the top, and there's no bends or kinks in this cable or twists. Now, don't forget to push down these holders to hold down the cable. All right, go ahead and tighten up your rear set. Guys, make sure before you tighten up everything, make sure you have everything loose. Make sure these are loose. Don't put any of the springs in the middle yet. You can tighten this guy down. You can tighten the O2 sensor, but don't put any of the exhaust springs yet. As long as you can get this thing lined up like this, you want everything lined up. And then when you go to tighten it, tighten the header first. Tighten the headers down, and then work your way this way, depending on what exhaust you have. But one more thing, don't over tighten these guys, because this is aluminum, and you don't want to. I think it's aluminum. It might be steel. I don't know, but don't over tighten them, just in case. Okay, so now that you have this thing mounted where you want it, now what you can do is go ahead and install your springs on your header. I would start from the front here. So do the header. Do these three first, and then, yeah, so those two first, and this one here, your third one, and then go ahead and do these guys. Oh, damn, I forgot there's another one down here. A trick that I like to do is zip ties. So you're going to zip tie around here. Hold on. Go ahead and loop it like this. Since I don't have one of those fancy spring pullers, do this right here. And then what you're going to do is use pliers like this to pull it against. And then you're going to stretch it over that loop right there. And make sure the hook's facing downwards so you don't cut your foot. So go ahead and stretch it over like that. All right, guys, so the clearance was a little tight, so I had to move it. I had to move this over even more, and up to the very last hole, this piece here, until I can figure out if I can delete this or not. But yep, be careful with that. Guys, so I did have to trim this piece open. I just followed this line, the line of this, the natural curve of that, and I trimmed it out. I started with this, and then I used a grinder to open it up, and it helped tremendously. And it bolted right back on. But if you don't plan on using that underbelly thing, then you don't have to do all that.